Being a lion trainer is not a good way to live longer. I have to say that right out. For 3.5 years, I trained large animals, mostly lions, for the movie business. That was extremely enjoyable time in my life. I wouldn't trade it, but there's many, many other things that are less dangerous. I'm obsessed with enjoying life. And as long as we enjoy today and behave sensibly, we actually can live a remarkably long, healthy life. Hey, this way, kiddo.
Hello.
My name is Stephen Austad. I'm a professor in the biology department at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I'm also the scientific director of the American Federation for Aging Research. AFAR is an organization that raises money and gives it out in grants to new investigators in the field of geroscience. Geroscience is the science of healthy aging, and it interprets health and disease from the standpoint of the underlying processes of aging. When I decided I didn't want to be an animal trainer for the rest of my life, I decided that I would go back to school to study animal behavior more rigorously. I ended up in Venezuela, and I discovered quite by accident that opossums, very similar to the opossums we have in the States, aged about as quickly as a mouse. They're similar to a house cat in their body size, so why don't they live 15 or 20 years and stay healthy for a dozen years? It was such a shocking discovery that it tweaked my interest and has kept me in the field of geroscience for more than 30 years. The world is aging. It's aging more quickly than it ever has done in the 300,000-year history of our species, which means that we are going to have some issues to deal with. Aging is at the base of pretty much everything that kills us and degrades the quality of our life. Give you an example, almost nobody gets Alzheimer's disease before the age of 65. Young people typically don't get heart disease and don't get cancer, and when they do, it's a big deal. And the interesting thing is, the same aging processes are driving all of these things. So if we can actually medically target those aging processes, rather than focusing on specific diseases, there's a chance that we can delay all of these things as a group. Right now, the best things we can do are all the things that you already know. Stay physically active, eat right, don't smoke. I look after myself. I'm kind of an exercise maniac. I try to get to the gym 5-6 days a week. At AFAR, we want to create a bigger cadre of bright young scientists to make advances in understanding geroscience and in developing new therapies to keep us young and healthy longer.
Early in my career, AFAR had a grant for postdoctoral researchers that provided me a little bit of money to do some exciting work. AFAR has really been this gathering ground to bring us together, advance the science, and for me, it really opened the door to this space. But in my younger days, I was really obsessed with human performance. How do we run faster, throw farther, jump higher? And really, what is the underlying physiology behind those processes and those feats? And that really led me down a road to understand human performance really ranges from the ultra athlete to an older adult. There's kind of a saying in clinical medicine, once you've seen one 80-year-old, you've seen one 80-year-old, because there's such differences between us and how we age. What is it about aging that makes us so vulnerable to so many different conditions? Our major goal is understanding that biology, so ultimately we can come up with interventions that target the biology of aging to extend the period of health in our lives. Once our cells experience different forms of wear and tear and damage, if there's so much damage, those cells die. But senescence, or zombie cells as some people like to refer to them, is this state when cells have undergone damage and dysfunction, and they not only look different, but they start to impact the health and functioning of the cells around them. We've shown quite convincingly that exercise is one way to combat senescence, and we're starting to explore different pharmacological approaches to target those cells and to help clear them.
The aim of AFAR is to create new, better geroscientists as fast as possible. There is no part of my interactions with AFAR that I don't really enjoy because I see the long-term benefits that they're supporting. Right now, it's an extremely collaborative field, and usually get a bunch of bright people working on different things together, good things happen.
In the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see remarkable advances in how we can measure aging itself. And that's critically important because if we want to intervene and impact that biology, we need to measure it.
To the extent that we're successful at intervening in the aging process, we would reimagine the whole trajectory of human life. Nothing lives forever, but if we had a good chance of an extra 20 years of life, I think it changes everything in ways that we can't predict, but in ways which I will predict will be exciting.